Hi, it's Super Videos back at you for another video. In this video we're going to be taking a look back at the photos, posters, teasers and trailers we've got so far for Season 7 of The Walking Dead, and we're going to be putting the pieces together. Now some of these I've actually talked about before, but I'm just going to talk about them again on this video. Some of them are things that I was wrong about, and I'm just going to tell you what it actually is. And there are also some new things that I want to talk about as well. I'm not sure how long this video is going to be, but if I talk about things that you've already seen before from me or from others, just bear with me because I promise you there is going to be things that are going to be new. So to start it off, the first thing I want to talk about, if you take a look at one of the photos we have of Ezekiel and you put the picture of the cane that we got as one of the 25 photos, and if you put them side by side, you can see that that doesn't look like Ezekiel's cane. Now it might be the other side of it or something like that, but if you put them side by side, as you can see right now, it seems like it's not the same thing. Now I could be wrong and it could be the angle, but it could be for another character, but of course I could be wrong about that. The next thing I want to talk about, if you take a look back at the trailer and look at the scenes we got from Tara, you can see that she's carrying a spear in one of the scenes, and it's the same kind of spear that was also shown as part of the 25 photos we got. The next thing I want to talk about is, if you remember, we got a picture of a truck of some sort, and we were saying that it's probably from the premiere because it looks like that's the exact location they were at in the finale of Season 6. But if you take a look at the large photo right now, you can see all of the trucks that's in the background, and it looks like none of them match the truck that we actually got in the poster. Now obviously there could be some more trucks that they haven't shown in this picture, but what if we're actually completely wrong and this photo from this truck is from another location or from another time period, and it's not one of the trucks that we saw in the finale of Season 6. I could be wrong again, but it's just an interesting thing that I noticed. The next thing I want to say, the photo that we have of Negan shooting a rifle, the rifle is actually the same one Eugene was carrying right before he was captured. And the type of weapon matches, the type of band and the color matches, and it seems like it's the exact same weapon, and Negan just grabbed it from Eugene when he was captured. The next thing I want to talk about is the sanctuary, because there was 2 photos in that stack of 25 photos that were from the same location in the sanctuary, and this just shows that the walkway that we see in the large photo is the same one as we see in the background of the photo we had of the curtains, and the curtains are the exact same curtains as we can see at the bottom of the large photo. So that was also interesting as well. Then the picture that we got of the fence with the sign trouble on it, the writing could be from the same person who wrote "You Are Alive" that we saw in the finale of Season 6, and it could be from the Kingdom or maybe somewhere else entirely different. But it seems like it is probably from the Kingdom. Then if we look at the 2 scenes we had from one of the promos, one where Negan is swinging Lucille and the clock's in the background, and the other where he is basically grabbing Dwight, we can see that these 2 are probably in the same location as the location we saw in one of the photos from the 25 photos. And it's basically a hallway, and there are rooms on either side of the hallway, and it looks like it's the exact same location. Then the next one, when we see Negan with Lucille on his back, if you look at the background and if you look at the type of window, you can see it's the same one as the one we saw in the photo. To the right, you can see. And it's also the same kind as we see in another part of Season 7 trailer when we see Dwight coming and grabbing someone at the sanctuary. So those are probably from the same location, probably from different angles. Then the next thing I want to talk about is, in the trailer of Season 7, we see 2 parts where there are basically walkers on chains, and if you look at what I have right now, you can see that this is probably the same exact spot in the 2 photos, and the walker with the pull through his chest is probably chained to the same type of concrete block that's in the background of the large photo as we can see right now. And also, if you look closely at that photo, you can see that there is some fence at the front, and it seems like it's the same fence as we saw in the photos, where the walker meat or the skin is attached to this. So it's probably from the same location as well. And then if you take a look at another scene that we got from the trailer, where we see Simon, who's Stephen Ock's character, walking with a bunch of saviors. If you look at the background, you can see that it has the same structure as the structures used at the hilltop. So this is probably at the hilltop, and I've talked about this before, so I'm not going to say anything else about that. And then these two photos, if you take a look at them, if you look at the photo with the cabinets in front, and if you take a look at the background, you can see that it looks like that location is the same location as we see in the other photo, where it's a walkway and there are poles on one side and the building on the other side. So it seems like that's in the background of that photo. If you look at this photo in detail that we saw in the trailer, where it's at the kingdom and Morgan is pushing Carol, you can see the exact types of cabinets that was in that photo in that picture. And also, if you look at the background, you can see that's the same building that we see in the background of that photo, and again, that building is the same one as it was in the other photo. So that was also interesting. And then if you take a look at the photo of the boot that we got, it seems like it's either Abraham's boot or Carl's boot. I'm not sure which one, but it does look like one of their boots. So it could be foreshadowing of some sort, but obviously I could also be wrong, and it could be none of theirs. And then the next photo I want to show you, if you look at one of the scenes we had in the trailer, where we see some people trying to contain the walkers at the front of the sanctuary, they have some sort of spray printed letter on their shirt. And one says S, one says F, and if you remember from the finale of season 6, there was another person who had X spray printed on them. So it looks like the saviors are using that tactic to label the people they come across. Maybe their enemies, maybe the people who are not in line with what they do. Another photo I want to show you, if you remember the photo of the head we had on the spike, it could be part of what we saw in season 6, where the saviors, they said, bring us Gregory's head. If you think about it, it could be that situation where it's one of the heads of the people who weren't following Negan's rule. And basically Negan said, if you want me to forgive you, you have to bring in your leader's head. So this could also be related back to that. And there was a photo of an axe. Initially I thought that it belonged to the saviors, but upon analysis you can see that it's probably Rick's axe. So I was wrong about that. And then if you look at the photo we had of the bloody footprints, it looks like, as I said before in one of my videos, that it looks like someone is being dragged. And if you look back at the finale of season 6, we did see the saviors drag someone. So this could also be the case. Once the Lucille victim is identified and is beaten to death, the saviors could drag that person, whoever it is, like they did drag that random survivor from the library community back in season 6, episode 16. So that was also interesting as well. And then if we look at the photo we have of the tree with the symbol on it, and it looks like we've seen something like that before. If you think back at season 5, when Morgan was first returning, we did see some kind of sign on trees, but that was from the termites. But in this case, I'm not sure how that applies, because obviously the termites are not going to be back. So how that relates, I'm not sure, but it's interesting how they're using that again. The next photo we have of the flames, it looks like that's probably from the location from the finale of season 6, where they were burning the logs. I initially thought it's from the hilltop, because we did see in the trailer they were burning the hilltop, but if you look closely you can see that it's probably the same location as in the finale, where the saviors were burning the logs. And if you take a look at the background in that photo, you can see there are logs on the ground, so it's probably the same location. So I was wrong about that as well. Then the other photo we have of the wall, it's the same exact location. The tower fell and they're probably rebuilding that part of the wall, and you can obviously see the names on the wall as well on both photos, so both locations match. The last thing I want to talk about is there was another two photos we had of another location. I initially thought this was the sanctuary, but if you look at the large photo I have from season 6, it's the episode when Maggie and Carol are kidnapped by the Saviors. You can see that the style of the doors and the walls, it seems to match that location. So it could be from that location. So it'll be interesting if we see that location again and if we go back to that compound. So it'll be cool to see that come back into play if it does. Because I would think that he would probably use it again, that compound. Some parts of it are probably burned because obviously Carol burned the place down, but maybe there are some locations that are still standing. And if you look at those two photos, it does look like it is kind of burned. So that's another evidence that it's probably the same location. But that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I'll be back for another video.